The full UFO bill text just dropped. Yo, check this out. If you watched my last video, you know that the Senate just announced on Friday, July 13th, that they're proposing legislation to basically go public about what the government knows about UFOs and bodies and craft. Here's the actual bill legislation. It's titled the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Disclosure Act of 2023. Y'all, look at what's in this, but look at the actual text that's in this bill. So it starts out by laying out the purpose of the legislation and defining a few key terms, etc. So we see here, the federal government records concerning UAP should carry a presumption of immediate disclosure, and all records should be eventually disclosed to enable the public to become fully informed about the history of the federal government's knowledge and involvement surrounding UFOs, that's their new government name for it. They go into some definitions. So the first one we see that's interesting here is close observer, meaning anyone who's come to close proximity to unidentified anomalous phenomenon or non-human intelligence, which they go on to define later. And then they also define a controlled disclosure campaign, which is basically this process of going public with whatever this alleged information is. And a lot of people have been talking about this, but they make a clear distinction that we're not talking about U.S. black budget, we're not talking about the Chinese, we're not talking about the Russian, because they have this prosaic attribution, which means having a human, either foreign or domestic origin, and operating according to current, proven, and generally understood scientific and engineering principles and established laws of nature and non-attributable to non-human intelligence. So basically what they're saying is, we're not talking about things that have a prosaic attribution. This is specifically stuff that is outside of that definition, which they also define further later. It's also interesting they specifically define public interest as means the compelling interest in the prompt public disclosure of UAP records for historical and governmental purposes and for the purpose of fully informing the people of the United States about the history of the federal government's knowledge and involvement surrounding UAP. Interesting. More definitions. What are we actually talking about? Technologies of unknown origin. They define it as any materials or metamaterials, ejecta, crash debris, mechanisms, machinery, equipment, assemblies or subassemblies, engineering models or processes, damaged or intact aerospace vehicles, and damaged or intact surface, ocean, and undersea craft associated with UAP, or incorporating science and technology that lacks prosaic attribution, what we just talked about earlier, or known means of human manufacture. We're not talking about black budget programs, y'all. So all of the rumors and allegations have been that there are these legacy programs that have existed for a long period of time. They define what a legacy program is. They say all federal, state, local government, commercial industry, academic, private sector endeavors to collect, exploit, or reverse engineer technologies of unknown origin or examine biological evidence of living or deceased non-human intelligence that predates the date of the enactment of this act. That's what a legacy program is. They then go on to define what they mean by non-human intelligence. The term non-human intelligence means any sentient intelligence, non-human life form, regardless of nature or ultimate origin, that may be presumed responsible for UAP or of which the federal government has become aware. They define it specifically in federal legislation for the first time. So what is this word unidentified anomalous phenomenon that they keep trying to use instead of UFO? They also define that as well. UAP means any object operating or judged capable of operating in outer space, the atmosphere, ocean surfaces, or undersea, lacking prosaic attribution due to performance characteristics and properties not previously known to be achievable based upon commonly accepted physical principles. UAP are differentiated from both attributed and temporarily non-attributed objects by one or more of the following observables. They define what we're talking about: instantaneous acceleration, absent apparent inertia; hypersonic velocities, absent thermal signatures or sonic shock waves; transmedium, meaning they can travel through air, space, and the ocean without any change in performance characteristics; positive lift, contrary to aerodynamic principles; anti-gravity, meaning it can float around without any kind of means of propulsion; and multispectral signature control. But wait, there's more. They also include anything with physical or invasive biological effects to close observers and the environment. And the term unidentified anomalous phenomenon, the umbrella term, includes the following previously described things: flying discs, flying saucers, unidentified aerial phenomenon, unidentified flying objects, and unidentified submerged objects. This is written in the language of this new bill and legislation. They then go on to list everybody in the federal government that is going to be subject to having to give up records. This is just a small portion of the list. And the list goes on. They also mention that no unidentified anomalous phenomenon record created by a person or entity outside the federal government shall be withheld, redacted, or postponed from public disclosure or be reclassified. They then talk about the new review board for how this is all going to be processed. The president will get to appoint 9 people to this board. That'll have to happen within 90 days after the act is enacted. So 90 days after this goes live, those nominations are going to have to take place. The president will have to consider nominations from these various parties, including Senate people, Secretary of Defense, National Academy of Arts and Sciences, the American Historical Foundation. There's like a lot of people that have to be involved in this process. The review board also has subpoena power, meaning they can have hearings and call witnesses that have to legally show up, and they can also provide those witnesses with whistleblower protection so they don't have to worry about legal jeopardy if they talk about classified information. They're giving people immunity, y'all. Witness immunity. And towards the end, this is probably the craziest part. Disclosure of recovered technologies of unknown origin and biological evidence of non-human intelligence. The federal government shall exercise eminent domain, meaning they can go in and just take whatever they want, over any and all recovered technologies of unknown origin and biological evidence of non-human intelligence that may be controlled by private persons or entities in the interest of the public good. There is so much in here that I didn't even cover. If you guys want more, like, share, and comment, and let me know. And this is available online. It's 64 pages. You can read it yourself. I encourage everybody to go and actually read it yourself. Read it yourself. I think you'll be surprised.